Hello, I'm Mark Tweddle. Welcome to another episode of You Tell Your Stories, where we share with you stories from our storytelling classes. This week's story is all about love. But the storyteller isn't French or one of those European romantics. No, he's a true romantic. He's Australian. So here's newcomer Benjamin Speed with his story about a big romantic lie that he's going to tell.
So it's 2012 and I'm in Sydney, and I wake up one morning and I get an email and it says, "Hi, do you remember me? I'm in Sydney on business and do you want to meet up?" And it was this girl, Blanca, who I'd met only once a year and a half ago before that in Los Angeles. And she worked in the film industry, and a mutual friend had said she'd loved this music, this film that I did the music to, and that you should meet up with her. And I thought, sure thing, why not? So I arranged to meet at her work, and when we met up, as soon as I met her, I was just blown away. And we had an hour meeting, and for me, it just went by in 1 second. We just talked, and then she had to go. And I left, and I was in a daze, and I was like, holy shit, I think I just felt like I fell in love with that girl or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so then the next day I asked her out, and I said, hey, do you want to go to a movie with me? And then she said no. And she said, sorry, my mom's in town. I'm really busy. I can't do it. And I was bummed, and I was just like, I was traveling, so it was kind of like, I'm bummed, but what can I do? So I went on with my travel. A month later, I went back to Sydney, but I never ever forgot her. So I read this email, and it says, hey, do you remember me? I'm in Sydney on business. Do you want to meet up? And so I said, yeah, of course. And I thought nothing of it. I wanted to keep it with no expectations. So it was like a business meeting. So we arranged to meet. And again, as soon as we met, we just started talking like we hadn't even missed a day of seeing each other. And I remember I couldn't help myself. I just steered the conversation towards relationships and things like that after many hours. And at the end of the night, she invited me to her hotel to have dessert. And she was leaving the next day. And there I basically spilled my guts. I was like, the first time I met you, I fell in love with you. And she just freaked out. As you would, kind of someone saying that. And so I just totally stuffed it up. And she said she felt so uncomfortable, and I left. And this was late at night. So I went home feeling crap, and I was laying in bed in the middle of the night, and I remembered this poem that was on the back of my mum's toilet door when I was a little kid. And it was about risks. And it's paraphrasing, it's something like, to laugh is to risk appearing the fool, to weep is to risk appearing sentimental, to show your ideas to a crowd is to risk their loss, to live is to risk dying, to believe is to risk despair. But risks must be taken, because the greatest risk of all is to risk nothing. Those who risk nothing, do nothing, have nothing, and are nothing. They're chained by their attitudes, and they are slaves. Only a person who risks is free. So I sent her this email and go to bed. Mm-hmm. And the next morning, I get an email back from her and says, I had to change my trip for this business, and will you meet with me tonight? And so I met with her that night. I went back to her hotel, and I remember the first thing that she said to me was, don't make me nervous, all right? And so we basically just went to her hotel room and just talked the whole night. And again, it was like one of these things where just time kind of vanished. And by the time we talked for 8 hours or something like that, it was already morning and she had to leave. So she's in the taxi on the way, going to the taxi, and she says, it's a pity you weren't in LA because I would go on a date with you. And so she leaves, and then in the next couple of days, we have like a flurry of hundreds of emails. And in a couple of days, I decide I'm going to go to LA. And so I booked a trip. I went to LA, and I got there on a Friday night. And it was so intense those next couple of days that we decided to get married. And for me, I didn't even believe in marriage. I didn't even believe in the institute of marriage, or getting married ever. I'd never even wanted to. But I did know that I wanted to marry Blanca. That's all I knew. And so we had bonded over this film, if you had seen it, called True Romance. And kind of in honor of this like crazy situation that we're in, and to do this film, we decided to go to Las Vegas and get married by Elvis. And so that weekend, we drive to Nevada, and we get married in the Viva Las Vegas wedding chapel by an Elvis impersonator. And then we go to this 50s diner around the corner and have our reception together. And then the next day, we woke up and we decided we had to celebrate in the physical representation of our crazy journey. So we went skydiving. And I remember the skydiving companies, their motto was, why gamble with your money when you can gamble with your life? And so we went skydiving, and for us, it was a giant leap into the unknown. So this was exactly what it was, and that was the only way that we could celebrate. So now I live in Los Angeles. We've been married for 4 years, and we have a baby boy together. And if he ever asks us how we got married, we're just going to lie.
Hope you enjoyed Benjamin's story. Our storytelling techniques are a practical way to help get yourself heard. Head over to youtellyours.com for details of our classes and events both in Burbank and online. You can listen to this as a podcast at podcast.youtellyours.com or find it on iTunes or even Google Play Music. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel or the podcast. You can email me at mark@youtellyours.com if you have any questions or requests. Thank you for listening or watching.